This is the plaintiff, Margaret Hutchinson. She says she was involved in a car accident, and the defendant's tow company came to retrieve her car from the highway. She told the guy she wanted the car towed to her mom's house in the Bronx, but the guy refused. He told her he had to take it to his shop in Queens, far from where her mom lived. The defendant lied to her just to make money, and she's suing him for the $500 she's out in transportation costs, missed work, and 2 tows. This is the defendant, Vinny Barretto. He says the cops called him to tow the plaintiff's wrecked car off the highway. He didn't do anything wrong. He towed the car to his shop at the direction of the cops on the scene. She has to pay for his services, and that's that. He's accused of towing the line.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says after car crash, she hired a tow truck company. Tow truck company would not tow the car to where she wanted it, and it cost her a fortune. But the defendant says he towed the car to his shop as per cops' orders. It's the case of the sore tow.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Margaret Hutchinson, you are suing the auto body shop. You've asked us not to mention the shop by name, and we'll respect that. Represented here by Vinny Barretto. You're the manager?
Correct.
Okay. For $500, the cost of 2 tows, cab fare, and a missed day from work because according to you, they inappropriately towed your car to a location you did not want, correct?
Correct.
What happened?
On Saturday, April 14th, my family and I were on a outing in Manhattan. On our way home, unfortunately, we were involved in a car accident. Thank God.
Where's home?
Bronx, New York.
Okay.
Thank God that no one was hurt.
Whose fault was the accident?
It wasn't my fault.
Okay.
I rear-ended.
How many cars?
Just 2.
Okay. You rear-ended somebody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The police on the scene from the 18th precinct in Manhattan off the West Side Highway notified the defendant to come and remove the vehicles from off the highway.
Okay.
When the defendant, Alvin, arrived with his tow truck, I was on the phone with my insurance company arranging for my vehicle to be towed because the officers on the scene stated that I could not drive the vehicle off. Mr. Alvin came up to me. I was in my car on the phone with my insurance company. He said to me, "I'm here to tow your car." I said, "Give me a second. I'm on the phone with my insurance company arranging a tow." He said, "It doesn't matter. His company is the only one allowed to tow the vehicle from the scene."
Okay. First of all, is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because it's the highway?
No, because it's when in the city of New York, there's a program called DARP, and that's directed
DARP.
Yes, ma'am. Accident Response Program, and this is a system that the city instills.
It's a rotation list, and
Yes,
you were next
exactly.
up. But that means that if I get into an accident on that highway or anywhere in Manhattan,
Anywhere in the city of New York.
anywhere in the city, I can't arrange for my insurance company to get
Correct.
their own tow truck.
Correct,
It has
Your
to be the next person up on the list that
Yes,
the city
we are.
says it has to be.
That is correct. You have to respond within half an hour.
Okay. But the issue that we have in this case is where the car gets towed to. So what is it that you say happens?
The gentleman came to me with the paperwork. He said, "I have to tow the vehicle." I said, "No problem." After he explained to me that he was the only one that could tow it, I confirmed with the officers on the scene.
Just a second. Is that the driver?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Come on up. Okay. So go ahead.
He came up to me with the paperwork. He said, "You have to sign this. I have to tow the vehicle." I said, "Okay, no problem." I said, "Where are you going to tow it?" He said, "To Queens." I said, "No, I have a place in the Bronx where I'm from to tow the vehicle." He says, "No, ma'am, I have to tow the vehicle to my facility out in Queens." I said to him, "I know nothing of Queens. I don't know how to get to Queens. How am I going to get home from here?" At that point, my family, a friend had came and transported my family home. I was by myself on the West Side Highway. He said, "I don't know how you're going to get home. Take a cab." I proceeded to sign the paper because I was so distraught.
Did you read the paper before you signed?
No, I did not, ma'am.
Why not? It's one little page. Can I see the paper? Can I see your copy too? I want to make sure we're looking at the same thing.
At that point, Your Honor.
Just a second. There's a line right there that says, "I directed the vehicle be towed to the following location," and you can fill out where you want it to be towed. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Do you give people a right to say where they want their car to be towed, or must it be towed to the facility?
No, it depends on the situation. If the driver is present, then normally, yes, they can direct where it goes.
So let me hear from you. What happened?
I responded on the scene, Your Honor. after I spoke to her, I explained the situation to her, she still did not want me to tow the vehicle. She said she did not want me to tow the vehicle.
Okay.
She said her insurance was coming to get the vehicle.
Okay.
So I told the officer, I said, she's refusing for me to tow the vehicle. You want to explain the situation to her?
Okay.
That's when the officer went up to her and explained it to her. He's going to tow the vehicle. I said, in the situation here, I'm taking the vehicle to Queens because I don't want to have a problem when I go to the destination, wherever you want me to go. If I go over there and I have a problem, I have to call back the cops again to resolve the problem.
So what I hear you saying is that you decided to take it to Queens because she was so difficult.
She wasn't.
But she had told you she wanted you to take it to the Bronx.
After the cops had instructed that.
And before you towed it, she told you she wanted you to take it to the Bronx. It's just that you're now worried that she's so difficult that you don't want to release the car to her because now you're worried she's not going to pay because she has to pay you if you release it to the Bronx.
Yes, sir.
How is that then giving her the ability to tow it to where she wants to tow it? Because she still has that right for you to tow it to where she wants to tow it.
Man, John, at the scene, he's omitting to say the officer himself had stated that Ms. Hutchinson was being non-compliant, and he directed my driver to tow it to Queens.
Prove that.
So does this customer have a right to direct the tow truck driver on where it's to be towed, or can the driver say, look, I'm towing it to my lot, that's the way we do it?
If she paid for it, she ordered it, she can have it towed to where she wants it.
You buying that?
Yeah, she should have it towed to where she wants to. It wasn't her fault.
But the guy says the cops told him to tow it to their lot.
No, but she needs it towed to a specific location, so they need to do that. She's paying.
They need to do what she asked them to do. Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
No, we tried to subpoena the officer. Well,
how about a police report? Or a statement from the officer or something to buttress what you're saying, because the problem is we have a swearing match now. And we have an unusual situation, right?
Yes,
like this isn't normally what happens. Now, according to you, it gets towed to Queens, and what happens then?
I actually caught a cab from off 11th Avenue and 57th Street and went home. I made a couple of phone calls to friends, and I got in touch with a tow truck company. The second statement that you have, he came to pick me up from my home to take me to Queens to pick up my vehicle and then bring me back to the Bronx.
Same day, you hired a second tow truck company?
Yes, ma'am.
Drove to Queens in the tow truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Hitched your car up from their place?
Correct.
And then towed it where?
To an auto body shop in the Bronx.
And let me see the receipts for that one. So now they charged you how much?
$195.
$195. All right. And then the second company charged you $225.
Correct.
Explain the $195 charge, because I am confused about that as well.
The $195 is the $125 for the initial hookup, $4 per mile, and a tow.
This is the document you give her. In the document you give her, when I turn it around, it says tow to towing company's storage facility, including mileage, plus storage for first calendar day, $80. That means that the tow and the storage is $80. Tow without the storage, you charged her $125. Why?
Well, Your Honor, that tow form that she was given is out of date.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate for you. All right, now, the next thing I have a question about is $4 each mile or part thereof if towed to other than tow company's storage facility. So it should be, and then it says they're $28. Why, if you're towing it to the tow company's facility, why did you additionally charge her $28? That's not right either, right?
No, that's incorrect.
Okay. Now, how do you figure, though, that they should pay for your cab, which you would have had to take a cab somewhere anyway, right?
If he had towed my vehicle to the Bronx.
To your mother's?
Correct. Usually, I'm able to travel with my vehicle.
Is that, do you normally like have as in the passenger seat the person, or just if they're not being difficult?
No, it's...
Go ahead.
Usually, it's up to discretion, because if, let's say, God forbid, something should happen on the way over there, then that's also another liability you have in the vehicle at the same time.
So it's just sort of like if the person's being nice, and was she not being nice, or was she just trying to stall for time?
She was being uncooperative with me.
But how long was she sitting in the car and not willing to move?
Well, for the time I was there, for at least 15 minutes, I would say.
And what was she doing? She was just on the phone talking to her insurance company?
Yes. So that's why I had to get the cop involved and let her know.
But what was the big deal? It sounds like all she needed was an officer to say that you were right, that you have to be able to tow it and not wait for her company. Once the officer told her that, was there a big deal formed after that?
Yeah, she said she didn't want to sign the tow slip.
But she did sign it.
After the officer told her that he's going to sign it.
So why couldn't you just take it to Queens after that? Because you were worried you wouldn't get paid. And then you're suing for both tows, cab fare and missed day of work, so your tow should be completely free. You shouldn't have to pay anything.
Yes,
That's not right, is it?
You need to teach them a lesson.
Okay, why don't I just get out and beat them with my gavel? That'll teach them a lesson. But, I'm going to teach them a lesson. They're going to lose in a certain form, but it's still my job to do it right and not just do what I feel like doing. Okay, it has to have some semblance of common sense and reason. All right. Okay, here's what I think is appropriate. I don't think that under the circumstances you described, you have a right to decide that somebody has to have their car towed to your particular auto body repair shop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that you're entitled to what would be appropriate, which would have been if you had towed it, because I don't think that it should be free for you, that if you had towed it to where she instructed it for it to be towed, which would have been her mother's house. So what I've done is I've calculated what that would have been if things had gone the way they should. The tow should have cost you to your mother's house $169.19 with tolls, tax, and going to a location other than the auto body repair shop. You ended up paying between fixing the problem by getting the second tow and being overcharged by them to take it to their place. More than that, you ended up paying a total of $420. So anything over what I feel you should have paid, which is $169.19, I'm going to order them to pay you, and that's $250.81. I am not going to order them to pay you cab fare, because cab fare somewhere is something you were going to have to do. It actually would have been more because they don't have to give you a ride, and I'm not going to order them for the missed day of work. So I find in favor of the plaintiff in this case in the amount of $250.81. That's how much extra tow bills you had. Got it? Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff does recover some of what she sued for. So come on out here, the tow guy. What's your reaction to the verdict of the judge here?
Not all that pleased. I submitted copies of the correct amount for the tow.
What are you doing, giving her out-of-date paperwork and then charging her another amount? How can you do that?
Well, it was busy that day and we ran out of tows. What am I supposed to do? Tell the officer I can't go up to the tow because I have no paperwork?
Tough job, huh? It's a tough job out on the highways.
It's either get charged $1,500 for not showing up or have to deal with something like this.
All right. Understand that. All right. Head right out this way. All right. So he didn't get charged $1,500, but he did lose a case in court. Are you satisfied with what you got out of this?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Well, what happened out there? Why?
He lied. I wasn't being difficult. I told him to give me a minute. Let me speak to my insurance company to arrange something. And he just lied.
You weren't just a ticked off driver who had just been in an accident and was stressed out and upset?
No, I was not. I was not ticked off. I was upset due to the accident, but not because of him. He lied.
Harvey.
We deal with lots of companies like tow truck companies, used car dealers. A lot of them are licensed by the state that you live in. And these licensing agencies have a lot of control over their ability to do business. If you're involved in a dispute with a tow truck company, say, they're licensed usually. You can call the licensing agency and sometimes they can actually mediate these disputes short of having to file a lawsuit in court.